Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Guys, what happens when the most infamous woman tied to Jeffrey Epstein resurfaces not in the headlines but in the highest court in the country? Yes, Ghislaine Maxwell is back and this time she is knocking on the door of US Supreme Court in a move that has already raising eyebrows and reopening the old wounds. Maxwell's legal team is urging the justices to overturn the 2021 conviction for sex trafficking and conspiracy. But here is where is the things gets murky. Her lawyers argue that the non-prosecution deal Epstein made in Florida should have protected her too. She is not just asking the Supreme Court to weigh in, she is also calling on President Trump himself to intervene in this matter. Yes, you heard that right. Ghislaine Maxwell, now a convicted sex offender, is appealing directly to the man who once distanced himself from Epstein in public but now holds the power of a pardon. So, guys, this case isn't just about old paperwork or dusty court agreements. It's about whether America keeps its promises, even to those who we find morally repugnant. And more importantly, is this an attempt at justice or just a well funded strategy to rewrite history? So, guys, let's break it down. What exactly the background behind this? What Maxwell is arguing? So here is the heart of Maxwell's appeal. Her legal team, led by attorney David Oscar Marcus, argues that a 2007 non-prosecution agreement signed between federal prosecutors in Florida and Jeffrey Epstein should also apply to her, even though he wasn't named in the document and her crimes occurred in a different jurisdiction. The agreement, which was a part of Epstein's famous deal with prosecutors in South Florida, protected him and allegedly his potential co conspirators from future federal prosecution in exchange for a guilty plea on state charges. That deal has been widely criticized as a miscarriage of justice, especially after Epstein's 2019 arrest and subsequent death. So Maxwell's team says that promise should have shielded her no matter where or when she was tried. The federal government says not a chance. That agreement was limited to Florida and covered only the crimes from 2001 to 2007, whereas Maxwell charges stem from New York and occurred between 94 and 97. That's years earlier and in entirely different legal district. The trial judge in her 2021 case, Judge Alison Nathan, agreed with prosecutors, saying there was no evidence Maxwell was ever promised immunity outside Florida and that her conduct fell outside the agreement's timeframe. So, guys, now with her appeals exhausted in lower courts, Maxwell is making her final move, asking the USA Supreme Court to hear the case. So, what could happen next? So, here is the thing I assume. The Supreme Court hasn't agreed to hear the case yet and likely won't until well after its summer recess ends. Statistically, most appeals are denied. But this case carries some weight because it raises a new constitutional question. Do federal plea agreements apply nationwide or only to the jurisdiction where they are made? If the court says yes, it could fundamentally change how future federal prosecutions are structured. Suddenly, deals made in one state might offer unintended immunity across the country. And if the court says no and refuses to hear the case, Maxwell's conviction stands and it will end of the line. But there is another wild card as well. President Donald Trump. Maxwell's attorney has gone public, appealing not just to the court but directly to Trump. He is invoking Trump's image as the deal maker, saying that if US made a promise in its plea deal with Epstein, it should honor that deal even for someone like Ghislaine Maxwell. So, guys, the suggestion is clear. Trump, now back in office, could commute her sentence or even pardon her outright. And that possibility is deeply polarizing. Some see it as a justice being manipulated by elite power, and others argue if the government really did promise not to prosecute even morally loathsome people deserve the benefit of the law. So, guys, here is my genuine take on this. Why this matters more than it seems. So, let's be real. Most people would rather never hear Ghislaine Maxwell's name again. The details of her trial, her connection to Epstein, the stories of the survivors, they are disturbing, painful, and still unresolved. But this appeal matters not because of who she is, but because of what it tastes. So, guys, we are watching the system confront its own contradictions. Can a deal made with predator in one state be used as a shield by another co-conspirator in another? And should our disgust with someone override their right to legal consistency? And here is something nobody is talking about. If Maxwell's conviction is overturned, even temporarily, it it could delay or jeopardize related investigations still underway. There are still file seals, names redacted, and loose threads prosecutors haven't pulled. Maxwell's appeal could face momentum. And then there is the Trump's angle. Trump stepping into this world would pour gasoline on an already volatile issue. It could immediately raise questions about his own history with Epstein, his motivations, and whether justice is being traded for loyalty or narrative control. But it could also electrify his base, especially those who believe the Epstein saga was a massive government cover up from day one. Either way, this case is no longer just about Ghislaine Maxwell, it's about credibility, about promises, and about the rules we follow or ignore when the stakes are personal. So guys, if you like this video, kindly give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for such amazing deep dives and current affairs. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, kindly give it a thumbs up and share this video with your friends and family, and I will see you guys in the next video.